Om Shri Sai Ram. We'll start with Omkaram and Sai Gayatri. Om. 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 Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarvah Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Swami. I welcome you all for today's satsang. Today's chapter is a very important chapter. I think it's a Sai incidents. The satsang is also 72, and the chapter is also 27, signifying number 9. So divine episode, because we're going to experience the entry of a celestial being, a divine being in this chapter. So before going into the story of today's chapter, let's now discuss previous chapter briefly, what had happened, just refresh our minds, refresh our memory. So we have seen the hermit disciple of Shamika visits the palace of Parikshith to convey his guru's message, and he reveals the curse that was pronounced by Shringi, son of Shamika, to Parikshith. And Parikshith accepts it with a smile. He considers it to be an immense blessing, not a curse. He kinds of celebrates it, not just rejoicing, but celebrating. And we have seen in no time, once he realizes that he has only 7 days to live, he doesn't want to go. I mean, he doesn't want to let even one moment go futile. So immediately he performs the coronation ceremony of Janamejaya, his son. And he conducts it in a very modest manner. No, it is supposed to be the grandest one, but he would conduct it in a modest manner. Not everyone even come to know about it. And after that, he heads to River Ganges, to the bank of River Ganges, leaving behind everything, all the royal paraphernalia and everything. Now he is not even attached to the idea of being called an emperor. A minute ago he was an emperor, but for him, what he's identifying now is not emperor. He's the one who is seeking the truth. So having Krishna in all his heart, focusing him, he just walks. And this news spreads like a wildfire. We have seen everyone, the ministers, the subordinate kings, queens, and the ladies in the chamber, and all the subjects, all his subjects. Not only that, even hermits from the forest. Everyone, once they come to know about this news, they would leave everything and come to the king. They would plead him to reveal what had happened, because no one knows the truth. Everyone only had heard that okay, disciple had come from Shamika's ashram, something had happened. So the truth, was actually making rounds and kind of bits and pieces. There were even rumors also mingled with it. So no one actually knows the proper truth. So there a lot of rumors going on, and that kind of makes someone more anxious. What had happened? What is going to happen? And there was an old monk, an aged monk, also among the crowd, who was also trying to follow Parikshit, and he was not able to maintain that the pace with which Parikshit was walking, and somehow he tries to run behind him and cry out for the king, pleading him, please stop, king, please stop. You cannot do this. All this while you have been a very affectionate father to all of us, and now you cannot orphan us like this. And he was not even no, as I told, he was not even attached to the word king or emperor, because he renounced even that idea the moment he coronated his son. The moment he crowned his son a king, he even left behind that idea. But finally, the words or no, the earnest request or a plea of the aged monk somehow moved the king. That's when he decides to reveal what had happened, and he reveals everything what had happened, and everyone would be quite uh, taken aback. They're all taken aback at the contentment and the equanimity, uh, what they are witnessing in the face of Parikshit. So that we have seen in the previous chapter. If you look at kind of insights also, beautiful insights, we have seen how Parikshit had accepted. In fact, till the messenger comes to the palace, he was impatient. He was carrying that burden of guilt. And the moment he actually comes to know about his curse, he is kind of relieved of that burden. Oh, now I got some great relief from this guilt, this burden of guilt. And now I have a means to atone my sins, the kind of sin I've committed. It's not a smaller one. So he kind of feels so rejoiced. And not only that, forget about his guilt and that. Over that, he is rejoicing because he's actually found the purpose, that it was in case, it is indeed a blessing, not a curse. And we have seen how the acceptance. The greatness here, if we look at about Parikshit, is, in all these chapters, we have seen Swami how he has exalted the character of Parikshit. He was born in riches, and never he was attached, because his focus was always on Krishna. He was yearning for Krishna all through. People are also, most of the time, even if we look at Alexander the Great, we call, he also conquers the world. And at the end, when he comes to know that his demise is approaching, that's when he actually realizes what all that he had gathered, what all that he had conquered is not going to come with him. That's when he even asks, requests all his the subordinates, whoever, that at the end, when he was put in coffin, they should put in such a way that we should make two holes to the coffin, and his two hands should be stretched out, so that he wanted to give a message to the world that all this while I thought of conquering the world, But at the end, I'm not going to carry anything with me. I'm going empty-handed. I'm dying empty-handed. He realized, a sort of at the end of his life, at the fag end of his life. But probably the message he would have given, probably not no happily, would have given out of no grief only. Yes, at the end of the day, I was no madly. You don't do this mistake. No, I've done this mistake. I'm repenting for the mistake. All this while I was running after for this worldly conquests and worldly achievements, and ultimately these are not going. We have to leave behind everything, and we will go empty-handed. So you realize soon. I didn't realize. I had to realize only at the end. You don't do this mistake. That's what he wanted to give. But if you look at Parikshit's life, on the contrary, I mean, he was born in the riches. There is nothing more to conquer for him. Is nothing. No, everything was given to him right at his birth. He was an emperor. No, emperor of the entire Bhumandalam. No, for the earth, they say. So, in spite of all that, in a trice, he just gave up all that. So that makes Parikshit's character more interesting. And know how, because all the while his focus was on the permanent thing, that is Krishna. If we focus ourselves on the impermanent things like Alexander, definitely when even though we gain some wisdom at our fag end of life, it would be not something which we accept it happily. We would that would be full of we would grieve actually even to accept that. Somehow we accept it because there is no other option for us. But whereas if we have focus, at the beginning, like Parikshit, that's how we lead our life. He has led his life as a king. He did all that. He did all the duties. Even we all supposed to do. But his focus was always on the Lord, and that kind of made him detached to the world. That's called, as Swami always said, detached attachment. So he was doing. He was affectionate king, like a father to all his subjects. He performed his each and every duty meticulously and completely unattached to everything. So he was in the world, but not of the world. So coming to today's story. So everyone had heard the explanation of the king, and some of the sages were not able to take it. It was quite painful what they had heard. And they started blaming, kind of commenting, passing their comments on Shringi. Oh, what kind of Muni Kumara he is? What kind of son of a sage? He's called sage's son. He doesn't befit that. He would not have, he should not have done that. Or if at all he was a real, son of a real sage, that too, of Shamika, he would have forgiven such a trivial mistake. He would not have pronounced such a harsh judgment, harsh punishment for such a trivial mistake. How can someone give? No, definitely, he should have been some insane or ignorant guy. He should not have been. Definitely, he is not an enlightened person. An enlightened soul can never pronounce such a harsh judgment. That was, these were the comments uh, that were being passed by all the sages, and they were telling ignore it. No, definitely this would have come out of an ignorant guy or an insane guy who might have pronounced it out of his grief or out of anger. So this is not going to come true. So they were kind of pacifying. They were kind of trying to console king. Nothing is going to happen to you. You just ignore these words. You just be happy. Nothing is going to happen. So that was their words, because they couldn't take it, and these were the words of the sages. And king was not moved. King was no not even affected by the words, and he started doing pranams to each and every sage, and he was telling, see, out of your love for me, out of your kindness for me, you are actually speaking these words. But my sin, the sin that I have committed is not a trivial as you think. Is there any greater sin than this, than insulting a seer, insulting a sage? I'm the emperor. No, I'm like a father who is to take care of well-being, to upkeep the honor of each and every subject of my kingdom. If I'm only insulting my children, what kind of ideals I'm going to set? And this is not something uh, pardonable. It is not something acceptable. So he's telling, and even in his way of no explanation, if you look at the way he's explaining to the sages, he's very objective. He is neither even self-derogatory nor even he is trying to show himself in a good light. So objective. So as a king, king has greater power, and with greater power, as they say, with greater power comes greater responsibility. So I have a greater responsibility. My each and every act should be seen in a like a microscope, because it's scrutinized, because I'm going to set an ideal. If my behavior is like that, it is not something pardonable. So it is not a trivial mistake. If it was committed, and it would have been committed by some really an ignorant person or some common man, the punishment need not be this harsh, but it is committed by me. So as the power has got magnified to the king, even the sin also will be magnified, because I'm person who is at the highest pedestal, where each and every move of mine is being considered as ideal to all my subjects. If I am going to commit such mistakes, I'm going to set a wrong ideal. So definitely it is not a trivial mistake. And what the curse is, I deserve. I mean, as a king, I deserve. Or he wants to say that the king deserves, or the emperor deserves. A man at the stature of emperor has committed this mistake. Whoever has committed this mistake as an emperor, I accept that, and it is the right punishment. So he kind of, and over that he says, if I really look at it, no, really I observe that what was given to me is not a curse at all. It's the greatest boon I have received. See, at the end of the day, I'm immersed in these mundane things, all these mundane pleasures, and I forgot the actual goal of life. I became an animal. What is the actual purpose of life? Is to realize God, to reach God. So I have forgotten my goal, and I was completely engrossed in my mundane affairs. So God has graced me and He has given me the 7 days. And said Shringi was only a pretext. Through him, he just spoke, and he gave me 7 days to. So it is an immense blessing. It cannot be no the effect of any sin that I've committed. I consider this to be a greatest punya that I would have committed in my previous births. That was the explanation of Parikshith, the words of all the sages. He was in tears when he was telling these words. This kind of actually, all the sages got goosebumps by the reply of Parikshit. What kind of reply it is? A man who's going to die in 7 days is speaking with so much equanimity and so wisely. And it is truth. Whatever he spoke is absolutely true. So and suddenly one of the in the crowd, one of the sages gets up and sees he says like, "O king, your words of like the rays of sunlight warming our hearts. No wonder you're a product of Pandava clan, the Pandavas whose hearts had never even an iota of ill will towards anyone. And they always had their, sought Krishna as their refuge. Finally, when they heard that their Krishna had left for the highest abode, they also decided to relinquish everything and they headed towards the north. So you befit. So you're born in that lineage and you befit your birth. So that's what he praises. If you look at actually, even here, Parikshith is setting much greater example. Someone can say Pandavas had enjoyed the physical proximity. So sometimes we can say, oh, he was staying uh, with Swami. So it is no wonder he would have acquired these qualities. So physical proximity would have. But greater thing is, Parikshit, he never had any physical proximity. Only he had, during his childhood. That was very, short period. Of course, all that he never remembered in his life. But the rest of his life, he was just only by listening about Krishna, that yearning started in him. And with that yearning itself, he became so detached, just like his forefathers who had enjoyed the proximity, but without the proximity. So he created proximity just by loving Krishna. They lived with Krishna and they developed that love. But he didn't live with Krishna. He just yearned for Krishna and he developed that proximity. In fact, so in this, if we remember, realize that it's not a physical proximity that is important. It is that yearning. Earlier also I told one Swami, was holding, hand of a student and he was moving among, I think in Kodaikanal. Many students, before they could, say there was a hush buzz going on in the crowd, and before they could tell something, Swami himself told, see, all of you are thinking that how lucky this fellow is holding my hand. Swami said, holding my hand is not important. Yearning to hold my hand is important. So yearning is important. That actually, transforms us. That's what happened in Parikshit. He was actually, you can say, he's step ahead than his forefathers because he just yearned for him and he got this stature. And one more thing here, as I told, as with greater power comes greater responsibility. As Sai devotees or Sai students, we always have this, this Sai tag. And all of us know a lot of tangible and intangible benefits we are enjoying being called Sai devotees. But if we focus on the responsibilities, I think we have greater responsibility towards everything, not just like others. We need to, I think, just like uh, Parikshit told, everything has to be scrutinized because I have a, I am so and so stature, so I need to scrutinize. So even my trivial mistake is not so-called trivial. It may be trivial for others, but for me, in my stature, it's not trivial. So also, I think once we get the Sai tag, we are much more responsible because we are actually our own behavior, our own demeanor actually represents Swami. So we are much more responsible in the same way. I think with whatever the benefits we are okay, but it comes to responsibilities, I think we need to focus more. Once I heard once some devotees were requesting, some students or youngsters who had come from overseas were requesting Brother Ravi Kumar, our bhajan singer, Parthi bhajan singer. They were requesting some bhajans to be sung by him. He was uh, slightly, kind of politely he was denying. Later, they didn't ask him, but later they asked Brother Amai, who was there. So, brother, why he doesn't uh, accept every, whatever bhajan we request. Then he said, um, Brother Ravi would not sing anything unless otherwise he gets hold of the bhajan. He would not sing any bhajan, whatever you ask, he won't sing unless otherwise he gets hold of the bhajan. He feels that, yes, I'm actually singing perfectly. He would not sing anything because he says, once I sing, no, if any mistake I make by mistake also, the entire world is going to make the mistake. Because we know Ravi Kumar has set that standard, no? Oh, whatever he sings is perfect. No, he can never go wrong. So he has got that responsibility now. So because if I do any mistake by mistake also, if I sing a little here and there, the entire world is going to follow that, imitate that. Oh, Ravi Kumar has sung, so it's okay. So people follow it as it is the right thing. So I have a greater responsibility. So unless otherwise, so he practices a lot. Unless otherwise, he confirms that he has got hold of that bhajan. He's singing perfectly as per his standards that was set. That's when he actually sings the bhajan. So also, I think just like Parikshith or all of us, just having the Sai tag, being a Sai devotee or Sai student or related to Sai, I think it is not a lighter thing to take. Just like as there is a greater responsibility to this power of Sai which we are holding. So then Parikshit kind of places a doubt before all these sages. Have a doubt, oh great souls. Kindly clarify my doubt and grace me today. So what is it that someone should do who is sure to die? I think it looks like as if he's asked on behalf of all of us. So someone who is sure to die, all of us are sure to die, but he's asking because he is very sure to die in the 7 days. What is it that I should do now? How should I spend this? How should I make these 7 days fruitful? So everyone started giving their suggestions. Someone said that you should do yajna, you should do yaga. Someone told you should do japa, taking the name of the Lord. Someone said you should do dhyana. Someone told you should do some vrata, or someone even suggested pilgrimage. Someone told you should do some archana, puja, all that. Someone even said gnana devatu kaivalyam. So you should try to seek the wisdom. And someone don't know no karman sansiddhi. So you should do no good karmas in this 7 days. Someone told bhakti. So you should try to inculcate bhakti. Like that, everyone gave all the so-called sages placed their opinions, but he was not satisfied. King was not so convinced with whatever that was conveyed by all these sages. That's when comes the entry of today's main character of this episode. Yeah, Swami wonderfully describes his entry. So one young boy, a 16-year-old young boy, he was having no clothes on his body, and he was having, he was kind of magical splendor, kind of immense grace, effulgence, the celestial effulgence, not the normal effulgence, celestial effulgence. And he was coming and he was actually, Swami nicely describes as if he tries to even, it was a big crowd. No, you have seen, if you look at it, there were palanquins, there were horses, there were elephants, these hermits, subjects. So it is a big Janata Darbar there. It's not the entire kingdom is right there in, around king now. All are there, all are listening to him. And there is this little young looking boy with all the celestial charm. He's trying to find his way in between all of them. And he came and he directly occupied that royal seat that was placed just next to the king. And he directly sat there. And everyone were like quite startled, quite taken aback. Who is this person? He's looking like a kid. He's looking like this young fellow. Everyone had their own doubts. He's looking like Muni Kumara, Tejas' son. But if you look his majesty, what kind of majesty he's carrying with him? and the celestial charm is holding. That's when one aged monk who actually recognizes. That's when, oh, no, he kind of expresses his joy. He folds his hands and he kind of expresses his joy. He is none other than Shuka. He's the son of sage Vyasa. He is not an ordinary being. By birth, he is a Brahma Jnani. By birth, he is a detached soul. The moment this was heard by the king, no, there was no end, no, to his bliss. His bliss grew by leaps and bounds. And he immediately fell at the feet of Shuka. He was feeling as if Krishna had come. Even complexion of Shuka is also described as a no Krishna's complexion only. He would the same color if you look at. They felt like no that Krishna all the way had come. And he had a beautiful curls, a young boy with celestial charm and beautiful curls. Those curls were like serpents behind, no, just like behind Narayana, the serpent. For these curls, black curls of his hair were like serpents. Behind this resplendent countenance, a pleasing countenance. And his eyes have that light, like a moonlight, cool moonlight, they were. And he was having that beautiful smile over his face. And slowly the king approaches, Parikshit approaches Sukha. And now he's choking. His voice is like choking because he's in so much bliss because he had heard the word. Shuka had come all the way. So his voice is now choking. He was trying hard to even to speak to Shuka. Oh, great sage, I cannot fathom even your glory. And I know, I mean, at every place you go, you come without without purpose. You never come to a place also. And getting your darshan is not an ordinary thing. It's not at all an ordinary thing. I think it's greatest of the greatest fortunes, and not just this is not definitely not my fortune, but it's a fortune of my forefathers, my grandfathers. It's their punya. Because of that, today I'm able to have your darshan. And he started sobbing profusely at his, that ananda. He could not contain himself looking at. Because Shuka is known for, yeah, we'll slowly know the story of Shuka also. So he is known for his, he would never stay in a place for long, not even few minutes. Because he was a born, I don't know, detached soul. He never wanted to get attached to anything. So the moment he spends more time, no, normally we spend little more time with anything, we start feeling attached to that person or anything or even anything. So he never want to get attached to anything. That's why he never would stay so long. To that so-called great sage who was looking like a young boy. He's always like a 16-year-old. Ever he always looked like a 16-year-old boy. He would never age. And that person has found his way in this thick crowd that was surrounding Parikshit and came and directly graced. So that was quite perplexing to everyone. And they were telling, then what was the reply of Shuka for the words of Parikshit? Parikshit, you are Dharmatma. And you are always in service of your subjects, service of all the beings in your kingdom. Because of your punya, see, look at your punya, look at your glory that everyone has left their work, everyone have left their right here. Not even ordinary people, even the greatest hermits who have the tough disciplines. They have greater sadhana to do. They have relinquished everything because they sought something higher. They even left that sadhana, that highest sadhana, and they came all the way here to pray for you so that you should attain the highest abode. So, do you think it is an ordinary thing? It's not ordinary. It is not at all an ordinary thing. It is punya, the merits that you have earned from many births together. And even that did not pacify Parikshit. He would say, if at all I was so dharmatma, I was so, I would not have committed this sin only. So all the darshan of all these great sages and even your darshan, it is definitely the punya phala, or definitely it is the grace or the good deeds of my forefathers. So that is actually being showered upon me. They were the ones who enjoyed the proximity of Krishna. And because their souls would rejoice today, because of that reason, you have graced me today. So I don't have any kind of punya or anything in this. My share in this, it's definitely their grace. It's definitely the effect of their good deeds. That was actually being conveyed by Parikshit. Even then, Shuka, no, don't think like that. These are not that. No, all these kind of prapta, all these karmas are not. You have your own. He said, everyone has their own karma. The effect of their karma, of course, to little you may have, but it's not that without doing anything, you can never get this opportunity. And all these relations you are calling forefathers and whatever, they're as long as they are there on this terrestrial plane, on this earth, they are having relations. But otherwise, if you look at the karma, it's more of a atmic related. So that doesn't have anything. So that is their own merits they would acquire, and your merits you would acquire. So all the other relations are only temporary. So only this can be possible only when you have the merits that you have accrued all over your births. And I cannot even know, even thinking about those, whatever the merits and all, that is not, the need of the hour. That is not the thing that we need to do now. We should think what is to be done now. So that is more important. Why it has happened, it is not that important. Important is what is to be done now. That please focus on that, he says. And these words of all these sages were quite, they were in extreme bliss, hearing those words of Shuka. And how he was telling, he was caressing the king, caressing like a mother. He was placing his hand, and everyone's telling, getting darshan of Shuka is so something which is not that easy, and he's getting the sparshan also. What a great fortune! It is not definitely a fortune, that it is something what he would have earned in his all his previous lives. Then Parikshit kind of places the doubt that he was having before. So kindly clarify. I have a doubt. Kindly clarify this and pacify me, pacify my heart. It's pestering me. And I know it's cakewalk to you. It's a child play for you, for a Brahma Jnani like you. And then he says, Parikshit, for that purpose only I've come, to clarify your doubts, to annihilate all those, whatever the concerns that are pestering you. I have come here. So please place your doubt in front of me. So that's when the king places his concern. I'm sure to die in these 7 days. What is it that I should do so that I should not die again? Beautifully placed. No? What is it that I should do? Because I'm sure to die now. What is it that I should do so that I should not die again? I should not die again means I should not take birth again. Only when I have birth, I'll be dying. So what is it that I should do to come out of the cycle of birth and death? So this is pestering me. When Suka says, withdraw your mind now from all the worldly things. Focus. Focus now on that, the beautiful, wonderful form, the resplendent form of the Lord Krishna. And I'm going to tell his tattva, Bhagavata tattva. I'm going to tell. And you just listen. That's it. There is no greatest or auspicious thing that is to be done by you in these 7 days. Just listen to what I say with a rapt attention. There's no greater, purer deed you can do in these 7 days. This body is like a boat. The story of God is like a rudder. The samsara, no, it is the sea on which you have to sail. And who is the boatman? Is the Narayana himself. And all this paraphernalia are at your beck and call today, right here today. So it is not, the question that you had asked is not pertinent to only you. It is pertinent to each and every soul. If you do proper inquiry, you'll come to know that what is the truth? That is the Atma Tattva, that Atmic principle. Death is something certain to every soul, not to every body. So what is that is to be done by someone who is certain to die? Everyone who is certain to die should know. So that because what he spends or what are the thoughts that he carries during his last days or the fag end days, because based on that, his next birth would be decided. So the question that you asked is not a question that is pertinent to you, but pertinent to each and every one. Says Shuka. So with this, this chapter ends here. Shuka says this to Parikshit. We look at Shuka. What is his? Is always that 16-year-old boy, that figure, that resplendent figure. There are many stories related to his birth. Some even describe Shuka as a parrot-headed sage also. So why he got that parrot head? What is this behind? So we should know a little more deep about Shuka in this chapter, because he's the main hero of this chapter. So if you look at Shuka, they say by birth he was Brahma Jnani. So there are many stories, they would say. They say it seems once an Apsarasa was sent to Vyasa so that he would be distracted. Normally, these kind of things are done by Indra because he's always worried about his position. No, anyone would. If someone if is doing penance, even I heard somebody even today, if someone is doing rigorous sadhana, there will be impediments in his sadhana, and that would be done by Indra. So that is the fear he has always, that's lurking around him, because he would, anyone who would be doing or any kind of penance, he would think that they would be doing, or it is some kind of threat to his position. So that's why he sent some apsara so that he would distract Vyasa because he was in some penance. seems a little while, for some little while, she would distract him, and that's when his masculine energy falls into the Yagna Kunda, they say, that when that the stick, the celestial sticks would be rubbing against each other so that the fire would be produced. That moment, that masculine energy would be falling into that, the semen would be falling into that, and that's when comes out of a sun with a kind of essence of his ascetic power. And that's when the Napsara becomes a parrot and she flies, and that's how he becomes a parrot. That's one story. And another story is a greatest story, that he was in his previous birth a parrot, a male parrot, a pet parrot of Radha. I think it's again a coincidence. I would say yesterday was Radhashtami, and today we're talking about pet parrot of Radha, Shuka. So I think this is also no. Even for that matter, the etymology, if you look at in Sanskrit, Shuka means parrot. And he shook now all the crowd, no, with his words and with his resplendence. He literally shook the entire crowd. So Shuka means parrot, even by meaning. So he was the parrot, a pet parrot of Radha. And he would always release those stories of Krishna through her. And once, no, he spent his entire life like that. And the day came when Radha wanted to give up her body, because Krishna is also no more, she came to know. So that's when even this parrot accompanies Radha. And Radha would say, no, this is not the time for you to go. You are the one to propagate Srimad Bhagavatam to the entire world. So this is not your birth. This is not your end now. So you need to stay back. So that's when he stays back and he keeps on wandering. Like parrot, he keeps on wandering. That's when they say once he enters some kind of garden where Shiva would be explaining Bhagavatam, would be delivering Bhagavatam to Parvati. Parvati always was eager to listen the 10th canto about Krishna's story, but he wanted to start from the first canto. So he would be starting. So she comes of, okay, anyway, I wanted something interesting and he doesn't want to, he wants to tell something this. Okay, she starts hearing and somehow she'll be like making sounds, like that, as if, as a response to that he's listening. So because anyway, because long chapters, 10th canto will come later, maybe something sometimes, someone who is not interested, we also get bored and we doze off. So she also dozes off like that. But this parrot, the so-called parrot, is interested to listen those glories, those nectar episodes of God and bhaktas. And in place of Parvati, this parrot would be doing the sounds, like that. And he would be continuing the story. And later, Shiva realizes that Parvati has dozed off, and someone in place of her is making these sounds. And he finds that there's a parrot behind those leaves, parrot that's hiding behind, that's doing all this, and he chases them. Oh, everyone can't listen Bhagavatam. It's such a thing, and chases the parrot. Parrot goes, and goes. And that's when, see, at the same time, Vyasa also would be, telling Bhagavatam to his wife. And she also kind of yawns at one point of time, and that opportunity, this parrot, he kind of becomes small and he gets into her mouth. And that's when Shiva comes and he chases and he asks, no, I should kill the person. What is that thing that parrot has done? Vyasa asks. The parrot has heard Bhagavatam. What is it that I can do? How can I kill it? Is it one who has heard Bhagavatam has become immortal? You cannot kill him. And that's how he pacifies Shiva and he sends Shiva back. And this parrot, now having heard all this, never wanted to come into this world because he never wanted to get entangled to this Maya. They say he was there in the womb of the mother. No? She was daughter of sage Jabali. So her name was Pingala. And they even, some of them even say her name has, she has also has got a other name like Vitika or Vatika or something. So he would be staying 16 years or something, or 12 or 16 years, they say, in her womb. And only after Krishna would promise him nothing is going to happen, you would not be entangled by Maya energy. It seems he would withdraw the power of Maya for some time so that Shuka is not affected by it. So that's when Shuka decides to come out through the grace of that, and he comes out. And again, he hears Bhagavatam from his father. So that is the story of no Shuka. So he's a parrot. So that's how he got parrot. And one more, many explanations they give for having this parrot form for this. And they say he's so by birth itself he's so Brahma Jnani. He is one with all the creation. So once actually Vyasa wanted his son to get married. So he would not listen. No, I don't want to get into this, mire, grimp and mire and all that. No, I don't want to get into this. So and he would be going, and his father would be chasing the son. And that's when Shuka, oh son, he would be saying, because he's already retained Brahman, he's identifying himself everywhere. So all the trees in the forest would respond to uh, Vyasa. So that's the jnana of Shuka. And there's even one more story. They say when Shuka was going, and there were some apsaras, they were taking bath in the river. And when they come to know that Shuka is coming, all of them, they were already taking bath, and they won't wear anything, and they come out and just they offer their pranams to his feet and they leave. And even Shuka also leaves. But he's a young man. He's in the right, wonderful youth. And when Vyasa comes, when they come to know that Vyasa is coming, immediately they would clad themselves in clothes, and they touch their feet or they offer their pranams. That's when Vyasa asks, see, my son is in a ripe young age, and I am an old man. So when he has come, you didn't wear any clothes. And when I have come, you're trying to clad yourself. What is the reason? That's when they say, so your son is Brahma Jnani. There's no difference for a man, woman, a tree. Everywhere he can only see that Brahman. So for he has lost that this thing. So, but for you, you haven't reached that stage. You have the distinction of man and woman and others. So that's why we didn't wear clothes when he came. So we had to clad ourselves in clothes when you came. So that's the magnanimity of his jnana, the stature of Shuka. And more or less, if you look at in this episode, even they say Bhagavatam, when it was written, it is the 18th Purana. By the time Bhagavatam was written, Vedavyasa had already finished writing all the 17 Puranas. He finished Mahabharata. He finished Brahma Sutras, everything. In spite of doing all that, he had a lot of void in him, a lot of, he was not feeling a kind of despair. What is this? I have done everything possible. He classified Vedas. He taught to everyone whatever possible he could. Still, there was a void in him. What is this? So that's when Narada comes. And he tells, see, when you wrote Mahabharata, your main aim was to tell the victory of Dharma or Adharma. Like Kauravas, you have showed in Adharma, and Pandavas. And when you're describing, you even became that. You became a Duryodhana, you became a Dhritarashtra, you became a Vidura. Like, you kind of got into their characters. When you're describing Krishna, you only described as per the sequence, whenever it was required. But exclusively, you didn't describe Krishna anywhere. Exclusively, you didn't unleashed. You didn't unleash any story of Krishna there as a part of Mahabharata. Only as per the context you brought him, and it was only as per the context. but you didn't exclusively write his story. So you should do that. You should do now exclusively about God, exclusively about his bhaktas. How did they realize him and all that? And that is when you're going to get peace. And that's how he, as a miniature, they say that in a nutshell, he would explain the Bhagavatam, tell the Bhagavatam. Narada only tells. Even Ramayana was also told in a nutshell to Valmiki to Valmiki by Narada. And even this was also told by Narada only. So that Bhagavatam, no, even that gave peace to the writer, that brought peace to the writer, that which actually you can say it has filled that void in his heart that didn't come to this world from any other ordinary soul. No, all other Puranas, if you look at, mostly we heard Suta would be actually giving discourse on them, or Suta would be explaining to many sages and all. Suta and Romaharshana was actually one of the disciples of Vyasa, and Suta was his son. So he would be actually talking about other Puranas, but exclusively Bhagavatam was told by only Shuka because he had that stature. God has chosen him because he has that stature to tell something which is going to replenish that void in lives of everyone, something that is going to turn everyone's mind which is kind of drowned in mundane pleasures towards God, that can be done only by Bhagavatam, and that should come from a soul like Shuka. And they say how to listen to, and except if you look at the timing also when he came, the onset of Kali already started showing his colors. He even affected Parikshith. Of course, it's a divine play, but he affected even Parikshith. So, what is the recourse for this is kind of, you can say, uh, a lesson that was being taught to us, that this is what the days are going to come. You will be affected by Kali in everything. So, what is the recourse? Only the God stories are the recourse. There's no other way. That's when Bhagavatam came, right? Parikshit has left after that. So that is the onset of Kali. And after that, Kali grew by leaps and bounds. His effects grew. All his atrocities grew, in people's minds. And even now, if you see the current situation, what kind of ruckus mind creates, the human mind is creating today, these days. So what is the recourse? As I told, Parikshit had 7 days. We also have 7 days, Monday to Sunday. Even to come into this world, we have this, or go, we have these 7 days only. So Saptaham, every moment we should think of God. Every moment we should listen to these stories. How is it possible? To include him. That's it. It's not so possible, impossible to include God in everything. It's tough actually. No, that's why they made it Suprabhatam, Abhishekam, and all that they introduce, so that he becomes part of our routine. So when we get up, if we are waking, when we wake up and we also wake him up, oh, get up, man. I got up, you get up. So that is Suprabhatam. That's how we wake him up. And when we take bath, if you're taking bath, that becomes Abhishekam. You also take bath along with me. When I offer food, that's Brahmarpanam. We are offering food to him also. When I'm having something, coffee, I'm offering to him coffee. So we need to include him because Parikshit has definitely 7 days, but we don't know whether we have the definitely 7 days or no. How many years we live, we have to live only those 7 days only. Monday to Sunday only. We don't have extra some other day created by my name, Suman Day or Sridhar Day or Jagdish Day or something like that is not there. We have only this Monday to Sunday with us. So that's it. We have these 7 days, and all the 7 days we need to think about God is through listening to his stories, because that is the only way we can fill that void in our lives. Only way how Parikshit, no, just like Parikshit, not being attached to anything, of course, still doing our duties, performing meticulously, but yet not attached to anything. The only recourse is Bhagavatam. That's why the elders even say, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. No, you should drink Bhagavatam. You should not just listen casually or listening like any other story. You should drink Bhagavatam, they would say. Because it is the essence. They say Nigama Kalpa Taror Ganitam Phalam. Means Nigama, the Vedas. Vedas are considered as a kalpataru, a great tree, and the great branches, or the Upanishads, which is the other part of the Vedas, which is the essence, which talk about the Tattva or the Brahman. End of those branches, end of somewhere, this ripe fruit. That ripe fruit. So that ripe fruit is nothing but Bhagavatam, the essence of all. See, if you look at fruit, if you they say, okay, Bhagavatam is a fruit, you eat it. Normally, if you look at fruit, there are certain things we need to discard when we eat a fruit. No, we cannot eat a fruit with its skin. We need to remove the skin. Sometimes we need to discard some seeds if there are there. All that things are there when you eat. But they asked us, the essence is available to you. All the essence of this Vedas, Upanishads, and that fruit is available to you, and that you need to, that essence has to be drunk. So there's nothing more to we cannot say, oh, I cannot chew, I cannot because all these seeds will be stuck to my mouth or in my teeth and all that. We cannot say all that because it is essence is there. So we need just have to drink. So that's how we need to absorb these stories, like drink these stories. Sukha mukadamrita drava samyutam. So it has come from a parrot. From whose? Parrot's mouth. Normally, if you say something that a fruit that is pecked by a parrot, they would say it's the sweetest fruit. No, normally they find chilak kottindi. In Telugu, we say chilak kottindi. Means it's pecked by parrot. So it is eaten by parrot a bit. Means that is the sweetest one. So that is the sweetest one that is pecked by this parrot. The parrot which is unattached to anything this world, which is not interested in anything, got interested to only thing that fruit. That fruit is Bhagavatam. And you need to drink the essence of that Bhagavatam. You should not eat. So it is being given as a Rasamalayam. So Raso vai Saha. No, we say God. He is the Rasamalayam. So every cell of Bhagavatam, every word of every letter of Bhagavatam has only Krishna, has only God. So you need to drink that. Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. So on this earth, you need to become that Rasika. You should relish your ear, you should like Bhavuka. You should fill your heart with that bliss by drinking this Bhagavatam. That's what the elders say. You should drink like that. So that is why uh, it has come, so that we can redeem our lives, fill that void in our lives, and slowly find the true purpose. Because we don't know from how many times, how many janmas we've been coming and got in this cycle, coming, dying, taking birth and again dying. Crores of janmas would have gone, but still we didn't find that. So to find again, slowly, again we need to read. Probably would have read a little bit in my previous birth, again little more. So slowly, someday we'll actually break that cycle of birth and death. And that's not so easy, Even that wish to break that cycle also not so easy. Just like Parikshith had asked that question. No, slowly if we read, someday all the karma, old karma is going to be wiped out, and we will get that wish to break the cycle. So that's when the final someone would come to us like Shuka, no? When that intense desire, out of coming something out of pure heart. So if you look at, I would say, uh, Bhagwan has glorified the character of Parikshit to tell us that he had always been, many times Bhagwan has been telling, character is power. So when we focus on our own transformation, self-transformation, trying to weed out all the negative qualities and trying to focus, Swami wants to say that will bring everything to you. You need not actually run after anything. You just focus on your own transformation, just like Parikshit, like his character. What even Shuka says, no, it is your glory of character and your punya has brought all these people here, even me. Even if you look at earlier, Vyasa also comes all the way to him. So that was a trailer. What Vyasa told was only few episodes of Krishna. It is a trailer. Now it is the movie that is going to start. A very big movie, the 7-day movie it is. And the Shuka, who doesn't spend even a little time anywhere because he would be attached, he decided to spend 7 days and 7 nights to tell Bhagavatam to Parikshit. So that intense was his desire. And that is the glory of his character. That's what Bhagavan wants to tell us, that character is important. One should not know, of course, skills and knowledge are good. We should acquire to run this world. But that is the core is the character. An important thing is most of the time, when negative situations are thrown at us in our life, the first thing is we deny, as I told, no, immediately we don't accept it. We deny that. Disbelief is there, denial is there. And slowly that turns into anger, grief, why it happened to. First of all, we don't want to accept it. Only somehow later it turns into anger and grief. And finally, one day we accept it. It takes time. But having this Bhagavatam, always being in acquaintance with Bhagavatam or Bhagavatas, whoever, that acceptance becomes easier. I would say the time taken from denial to acceptance would be reduced. Because in that process, we not only give pain to ourselves, but even we give pain to others. So once we are acquainted with Bhagavatam, I think that is, as a Sai devotees, I think this is something which we need to greater responsibility. When we compare to others, we can actually experience also. When we receive certain situations, probably the time from denial to acceptance would be comparatively lesser to us if we observe in our own lives. Of course, they say, no, yes, I have shocked, but somehow I could recoup easily. I think that is the effect of Swami. I think that is the effect of association with God and God's stories. Once you got associated with that, whatever the situation we receive, yes, you may have that shock or the effect of it to certain extent, but the time to recoup, no, it will be soon. It will be much earlier than others. So that is done by the God's story. And one more thing, if you look at in this, Shuka is described as a young boy. We often consider that age is an index of somebody's maturity. I think this in this episode, Swami wants to say even Parikshith was not so old, even Shuka. So what he wants to say here is try to focus on one's inner core, not on external costume. You go by external costume, some may be older, some may be younger, and sometimes we thought ego, elder people, oh, he must be, having a lot of experience. So let us not listen to these young guys. What is there? We judge by the external costume, and we just so there we actually miss lot. So it is one's no maturity cannot be decided by one's external costume, no, by one's age, by means. Anything can be told by even a young man. So something what we need to see is the content that is being told. If it is a good thing, you need to lend your ears, just like Parikshit did. As he told when he was listening to Krishna, he didn't judge anyone. Even it was a mundane subject, a person who is a normal farmer talking about Krishna. He just heard those stories with rapt attention. He never judged anyone, like by stature or age or anything. So we generally do that. So that's what I think here. The person who actually delivered Bhagavatam was a young boy, a 16-year-old young boy is given. So Bhagavan wants to tell us that let's not judge anyone by somebody's age or something. We never know what's because yes, even if you look at by outer costumes, we are young or old or something, but our inner core has traveled a lot. So we have gained a lot. So we need to focus on that inner core. I think once we focus on that inner core, probably even we'll be more forgiving also, or will we not be, even sometimes we even, yes, I would say, understanding the person well. If we just judge by only the external thing, we may kind of misunderstand him. But once we understand the core of the person, once we know, yeah, ultimately is divine. Ultimately, if I slowly start developing that kind of outlook, the way I look at the person, so I'll be more forgiving also. Oh, he can say he might have done out of ignorance. That's okay. Ultimately, if I learn to see the divine in him, the divine spark in him, just like that inner core. So Swami also mentions that here inner core is the most important. Don't go by any external costumes of a person. Yeah. It's character that is important. That's why he spent all these chapters just glorifying the character of Parikshit to understand that focus on your character, your what we need not run after even for moksha also. Everything runs after you. Just like everything came to Parikshit when the time has come, time is ripe, everything comes after you. So you need to focus on the self transformation. That's it, nothing else. Just try to make yourself, they say, just live like a man, not even like a god. Live like a man and all devdas will be behind you. They will be at your beck and call because you're living like a man. So that is the beauty of the human birth. Just live like a man, follow the dharma, and try to transform yourself and equip yourself with these beautiful friends like Bhagavatam, beautiful, wonderful stories, so that you are doing your duties but not attached to them, and not judging anyone, not focusing, and only seeing Krishna in everything, the spark of Krishna in everybody. And that's how we, can redeem our lives in this. So I think with this, I'll try to close my today's talk, so we can have a kind of discussion on today's insights or any more insights if listeners have observed in this chapter. So with this, I close my today's talk. Sairam to all.
Sairam Suman.
Sairam, sir. Sairam.
Very nice picture of Swami, so smiling and so young. And also Radha Krishna, beautiful. It was very nice as usual, and I'm sure Sridhar sir will come with the saransh later.
I think he's
So
the
that,
essence, huh? He gives the
yeah,
essence.
he brings out the summary and the essence, Rasadhara.
Ah.
So before he takes time to mull over and then,
Yes, yes.
and bring
He'll
it out.
he'll relish this. He'll relish first.
Yeah. So the churn must be happening with him.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
as the churn is
yeah.
happening, let me make a few points.
Yes, yes.
You said somewhere that when this grand entry of Sukha Maharishi, and there was so much of curiosity, and when one of the sages recognized that he's none other than Sukha, and only when
Mm,
uh, Parikshith heard his name that
mm,
he
mm,
got
mm,
immense bliss. So I was just
mm.
wondering, isn't the very presence of Sukha, uh, irrespective of knowing who the person is, you get that, sometimes when some people say, no, I went to this place, my God, what divine vibrations. What is this
Yes,
place,
yes,
So I think that is something I felt, whether we know the name or not, sometimes the very presence of some people invokes that kind of a bliss.
yes, yes,
Is that correct observation? Name is
yes. I
only
mean,
a name and
actually,
form, as you said.
true, true. Because already his presence is giving so much, bliss to others already, because they
Correct.
were, taken aback by because that halo around him, that divine aura around him was captivating everyone
Correct.
already. And already they knew about this personality, heard about this personality, Shuka. They were like, I would say
It
it's
was
a shock
adding
and
to
bliss,
that presence, I
adding to
think.
it.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
adding to,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
The second point you mentioned to me is there is a certain responsibility that comes with being a Sai
Mm,
devotee.
mm,
That was very interesting. And to me, let me talk about myself because I don't know whether we can talk for others, but I can talk for myself. To me, being a Sai devotee is freedom because it's like this, when you have Swami with you, you're free. Your burdens are all on
mm,
him. So
mm.
to me,
Yeah, that is the
that's a
benefit that you enjoy.
that is the Brahmastra that we have, that
Uh,
we are feeling so free. But yes, that
mm,
said,
mm.
freedom also comes with responsibility. And many times,
Exactly.
even at home, we have this conversation. Like if I say something, my daughter would say, I don't think Swami would approve of your behavior. So, so it kind of, it's also responsibility. We always say, would Swami agree with this kind of, is this what I want us to do? Does it meet Swami standards? Yeah, that question is always there. The third one you said is about how this Parikshit got the divine presence of all the hermits, the sages, and of course, Sukha himself. And there was a comment you made that this is also because of Purva Punya and also the
Your current
accumulated punya of the forefathers and parents and all that, the merits, as you said. So this was a question I had, and I think how much is the impact of this? Isn't it something that I mean, they say you have to, you have to live your karma, you have to manage your karma, you have to live your baggage, you have to work your karma. And in the latest calendar page of Swami, that is the September month, he says, the only way you can burn a karma is by karma. What he means to say is a thorn can be removed by a thorn. Likewise, your negative karma can be neutralized by positive karma. So do a lot of positive karma and rest assured that karma will not bother you. So that's what he says, right? So if that is something that we have to work, so how much of our parents or forefathers' merits impact us? So that was a question I had. I leave it with you for you to, respond in whatever suitable way you can. And the fourth comment, you said only 7 days. We don't have specified Suman day or any day. I like that. That's very true. I really like that. I was laughing when you made that comment that we also have only 7 days. Very rightly put across, And the last point that I noted down as you were talking about is, I think you mentioned about Krishna consciousness, right? You said being in that Krishna consciousness, or what we call Satyasai consciousness. Is that what you're referring to when you say that if you're in that space, you see everything as part of him and part of his play? Is that what you mean here? So I had about 5 observations and 2 questions. One is, of course, how much of the merits of the parents and ancestors come to us? And second, were you referring to this Krishna consciousness or Satyasai consciousness to be fully into that space?
Awareness, I would say awareness. Yeah.
These are the 2. I just leave it to you. So over to you, Suman.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I think the first question, I mean, even I myself, I don't know the answer, like how much we inherit. I think Swami can answer, or someone who is, the listeners, if they know anything. Definitely, there is something which we inherit, because Swami himself told that, you're having my darshan, not just it is merit of one janma, it is many janmas of not only you, but your forefathers also. He even told once to one of the devotees. So he himself has approved that point that, yeah, we have that effect. We will enjoy those, just like we enjoy the regular inheritance. So that is also the wealth that they can give us. Not only this, the regular inheritance. So we inherit, definitely we'll inherit. Maybe the more they going to keep us, the more we'll have it. That's what I feel. But yeah, doesn't mean that it will nullify. No, we can enjoy like anything, or again, it depends upon how. Yeah, Parikshit carried that, even that splendor of the character. So even carrying that is also a grace of those forefathers, I would say. Not that everyone could get that. He has his own personal karma also. Over that, it has added over that luster to this karma, and I think he would have shown a lot. Not that everyone who I would say who had been a devotee, their descendants also would be so great devotees. I don't think so. Need not be. Someone who could be a very greater devotee, the descendants need not be so greater devotees to Swami. Need not be. Again, it depends upon their personal whatever their own karma also. So it adds to that. That's it. That's what I can say.
And if you just, sorry to interrupt, if you look at the Valmiki episode, I think when he was a highway robber, and that is when I think was it Narada or someone who asked him this question? Saptarshis asked him this question, why are you doing this? He said, no, I need to take care of myself, my family. So I have a responsibility. I'm doing my responsibility. This is my profession. What is wrong in it? So he said, okay, if that is the way you look at it, can you also go find out from your family how much of the sin that you're committing they're willing to take it? If they're enjoying the spoils of your sin, will they also take your sin? Just go check with them. We'll wait for you. So he goes and checks, and that is when he gets a revelation that they are not going to take, they refuse flatly. Okay, don't expect us to take that. And that is when he comes back changed, right? So this episode of Valmiki, it's a beautiful eye-opener for all of us that we have to.
Exactly.
Right. So that's where I was coming from.
Yeah, people are ready to inherit good things, not bad.
Yeah. We don't mind a bank balance, but if the OD comes, we are not very happy. All this thing.
And the second question, sir, you're asking about?
Yeah, the other thing was about this. You mentioned somewhere that just get into this. It was the Bhagavata was the grand finale, and that completeness came because of this. So this story is to be fully into that Krishna kind of a consciousness. I think somewhere it occurred to me that is this what we call as Krishna consciousness, Satyasai consciousness. So that is,
the awareness. Yes, correct. I mean, what I mean to say is like where we are able to see divine in everything. Right now, no, that slowly develops. It's not that we are able to see divine in everything now. We still shout at people and all. Maybe the way when we start looking even divine in everything, probably the way we even behave with them, the way we speak with them also changes. That slowly comes. So yes, ultimately finding divine within everything is the thing which we need to develop over a period of time. That is the ultimate goal. Just like Suka is going to see only Brahman everywhere. That's why trees responded to his father when he was calling Suka's name, because he was one with everything.
He see no differentiation.
Yeah.
Beautiful. A lot of points to reflect, and thank you. It was very enjoyable as usual. Sumanopatyaya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sairam Suman.
Sairam, sir. Is the essence ready?
No, not really. Please, by doing this, you are discouraging me from asking questions.
No.
I am merely a sincere student of Suman, and you said like how age should not be the basis to consider maturity. I apply the same logic onto you. Okay, so I'm a good student, I suppose. Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
After that nice, meaningful interaction with Jagdish sir, many of my thoughts got addressed then. This 16-year-old comes to Parikshith, and Parikshith places that question before him, that what should I do not to die again? It's a beautiful expression. A person who will not stay anywhere comes on his own to Parikshith, caresses him like a mother, spends the 7 days with him to annihilate all his doubts. This is the background you gave.
Yeah.
There was one illustration. I was not able to get that, so I'm getting that. Withdraw your mind from the worldly things, focus only on the Lord, I will tell you the Bhagavata Tattva. Simply listen with attention. That is more than enough. Then you said, body is a boat. The story of God is the rudder. Boatman is Narayana. Can you please repeat that bit for me again?
Okay. Body is the boat. The God's story is the rudder. And the samsara, this world is a sea on which we are sailing. And the boatman is God, Narayana. He is the one actually, he is running us, the eternal charioteer, the Sanatana Sarathi. He is the one.
Fantastic.
That is
So that's a very,
Swami clearly told. Yes.
That is a very deep spiritual significance. That body is to be used by us in our lives with the essence of divine stories guiding you to pip your mind in the right direction.
Correct.
And for that, you need to look up to the boatman for a good ride. So you look up to God using this body. And then you cross the difficult journey smoothly. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal. In fact, you went to the extent of finding the etymological meaning of Suka means parrot. It's fantastic. Thank you, Suman.
Thank you, sir. We want to taste more essence, actually. A lot more. I mean, you keep observing many things, so I want more from you.
The illustration of Alexander versus Parikshith, a comparison, was a beauty in itself. Alexander was worldly focused, conquered many things. Towards the end, he realized as he was dying that he would carry nothing with him, and the coffin holes where the hands will come out to say, I'm going empty-handed. It's one strong message. This has been heard by us through many times. But the way you put it across so far as Parikshit is concerned, Parikshit also was born with a silver spoon, an emperor by right and birth. But right from his womb, mother's womb, he was always focused on Lord Krishna. Even as he was born and the naming ceremony was done, the child was only looking to find out where is Krishna. And that's the kind of a birth he had. And he always heard many things from his parents and grandparents, perhaps. And he had to leave this material things of his kingdom with celebration and happiness that he is going towards the higher principle in the next 7 days. Alexander went with sadness, whereas our Parikshit goes with extraordinary joy, is a classic comparison. So there you brought about the concept of detached attachment. That was something beautiful. And the humility of a king, of a great character, when he was little remorse and repenting that he has done a sin, and whatever he got as a curse is only fair, and he did not regret one bit about that. And he also, you said that he felt the sin committed by him is not trivial. Insulting a sage is not pardonable. This kind of a repentance comes only with a person of a very great character, actually. After all, I am a powerful man, I have done something, so what? I will start justifying, is it not, in this world? But he magnifies his sin instead of, in the context of being a king in the Raja Dharma, he should lead by example, and what he has done is unpardonable, is something which was beautifully brought about by him. And so very beautifully you said that Shringi is only a pretext. It is a blessing in disguise and not a curse in as others think. Was fantastic. The other aspect which I was very happy to note. See, you seem to have a knack of comparing and contrasting things across time. Pandavas enjoyed the physical proximity of Krishna. You didn't stop there. You said, like some of us had enjoyed the physical proximity of Swami. Yeah, it is a nuance of a subtlety, a different kind, but it appeals to my mind. So much so, King Parikshith must have seen Krishna in his childhood, but really missed him. And he was longing to know more and more, and was something very beautifully brought about. And you said what one gains by physical proximity, he earned by his yearning for Krishna. The yearning for Krishna is far more deeper and divine than mere proximity of Pandavas. Something like that you brought about. Yeah. So
because see, Duryodhana also had proximity, but Duryodhana couldn't enjoy Krishna, right? I mean, essence of Krishna, because
in fact
he had those qualities.
In fact, he confesses that I too know Dharma, but I can't follow it. So the about Sai Tag and Jagdish sir's discussion, nothing to add. It's very beautiful things were discussed. But your illustration of Ravi not readily obliging to sing any bhajan asked, and Amay explaining that he will sing only when he has a perfect hold over the bhajan. And that is more because of a sense of responsibility that where he is setting a benchmark and others will follow. And if there is an error in his rendition, others will think that is the way it should be sung and he will set a bad precedent. He's a wow example. Great soul he is, not. Sometimes we tend to mistake that he did not oblige. Perhaps he is,
correct.
Even
we can take it the other way, ego. We can even consider it as ego also.
And often we come to wrong judgments because of our own samskaras and lack of humility in us.
True.
That your description of Suka entering the scene I was just closing my eyes and listening. I was watching a movie as you narrated, particularly the immense grace, the splendor, the celestial effulgence, the charm, the celestial charm, and the aspect of being a Brahma Jnani was beautiful, Suman. It was with curly hairs like the serpents behind Narayana, or the eyes like that of the moon. Now, one could even read and understand, but to comprehend and render it, one needs to be soaked in and absorbed in that kind of expression. It was so beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
But when you get the blessing of a evolved soul like Suka telling Parikshith, hey, you are a Dharmatma in yourself. It is your karmic punyas of several lifetimes that you have reached wherever you have. This is not ordinary, and It is punyas of many births. In humility, when Parikshith says, it is my Pitrus punyas that I could get to see you and hear from you and all that. But then when the sage himself says that, you see, it is, you are a Dharmatma in yourself. See, and the depth of humility I would bring in.
Yes, yes.
How could a Dharmatma commit a sin of this kind? It is only my forefathers' punya was again, see the deep conviction, even in the dharmic principles as a king, is something very strong. So, but then sage has to explain that this is not the worldly, that is more about your atmic reality and your merits of the previous births.
Yes.
Okay. And I can go on. It's fantastic, Suman. The stories of Parvati snoozing off and the parrot listening and humming them, and or the stories of Radha picked up. Uh, Fantastic. It was beautiful sharing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sukha is one with creation, and that's the reason why the women, while taking bath, offered their obeisance without caring about what they are on clad or not. But this, when Sukha's father comes, the distinction between Brahma Jnani and the other, in terms of effulgence, was again a very nice sharing. And lastly, Veda Vyasa had a void despite writing several Puranas, 17 of them. And Narada coming to say that, you see, you touched upon Krishna in context, but then you have not holistically covered Krishna's thing as a whole. And therefore, Bhagavatam was how it was born was beautiful. And another significant thing, often I have seen this saptahams, these kind of, even others outside Sai community also, they hold a 7-day program for, Gita Jnana Yajnas and all that. That saptaham seems to be a significant thing, and you have given a very beautiful relevance to it. And the essence of it is to remove the skin, seeds, and the unwanted portion of the fruit, and just take the juice out of it, drinking the Bhagavatam essence. Was again a very nice thing. Raso Vaisaha Rasika Bhauka principles were very enjoyable to hear.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think I will end here. My observations. Sairam sir, enjoyed everything.
Thank you very much.
Really blessed to spend this evening with you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, one last thing. It is a take home for me. That when negativity hits us, we resist, deny, disbelieve. We get into anger and grief till we get tired, and then we accept. Whereas if you could evolve the concept of acceptance in your mind, that the time taken to move from denial to acceptance it gets decreased when you are into this kind of penitence and kind of spiritual practices. Yes, spiritual practices. Fantastic. That was a take home for me. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you. Bye. Any more thoughts or questions? Any add-ons?
I think just gratitude to Swami for so beautifully writing this for us and for you for a wonderful narration. Gratitude.
Thank you very much.
Sai Ram.
Thank you, sir. Sai Ram. Any more thoughts before closing? I think it's really wonderful narrating that too. It's like destined by Swami. Yesterday was Radha Ashtami, and today we spoke about Shuka, her pet parrot. It's one this thing, and it is Satsang 72 and chapter 27, which even signified the divine thing. Moreover, that I would be actually next 2 weeks I would not be able to conduct. I would not be conducting satsangs because I'm traveling to Mathura and Vrindavan. So maybe I should start actual Bhagavatam only after visiting those places, I think. So that's how it is destined so. So right at this point only, why should that come into my life that I should actually go for pilgrimage after this episode? So that also looks like it's absolutely coincidence. So maybe I would, the rest of the stories, the actual Bhagavata is going to start from now. So maybe I should also soak in that bhakti which prevails in those places of Mathura and Vrindavan. So I feel blissful and it's wonderful, destined by Bhagwan. This way. So thank you
Very
very much for
happy,
everyone to give.
very happy journey
Thank you,
to
sir.
you. Enjoy yourself. Sai
Thank
Ram.
you, sir.
Please
Thank you.
pray for us.
Thank you. Sure. We close today's episode with Asatoma. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti 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 Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय. Thank you all. Sai
Sai
Ram.
Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.